like, let's say that Mixer came to me or YouTube came to me and was like, hey, we heard that you like really like doing these sort of like one-on-ones with people, and you like bringing people on your show and talking to them for like 2 or 3 hours about like really in-depth concepts. Well, it turns out we have like a department at Microsoft that networks people together, and we could find one of those people a week that would come on the show for you. That's like, you want to get Devin Nash off of Twitch? Instantaneously, right? You guys know me, dude, the Notepad MS Paint Pro, but there's a really interesting concept behind why would a streamer go to another platform anyway? Assuming that they know that their concurrent viewership, that is the number of people watching their stream at any given time, is inevitably going to decrease. Why would you go to another platform if you knew this? Because maybe that other platform can offer you things that Twitch can't offer you. The number one problem with Twitch is that Twitch only has Twitch to pull from. I'll explain that. Even Amazon doesn't have a user base somewhere that they can pull people into Twitch. Right? Nobody that is shopping on Amazon for clothes is going to watch a Twitch stream. Maybe somebody, but they can't. It's not a reliable source of new users. So if Twitch wants to get new users, they have to pull them from kind of like the market ether. But this is not the case with these three platforms. Why not? Well, because YouTube has YouTube. YouTube's 1 billion users, right? Facebook has Facebook. Facebook's like 2 billion users. Mixer has Microsoft at Xbox. So all of these competing stream companies have external, and I would say I would order these in strongest to weakest, right? So like Mixer has Xbox. I turned on my Xbox One yesterday to watch Netflix, and it said, watch Shroud stream, right? That's a call to action to a community of gamers that might want to watch something on Mixer. Facebook can pull people off of the algorithm onto watch streams. And that's why actually a lot of people have had success with Facebook that you wouldn't maybe expect. In fact, we looked at an article, I think a week ago, was it, on this show, where we talked about how Facebook broadcasters per capita are making more money than Twitch broadcasters, which is really easy to understand, right? Because it's much more easy to monetize a Facebook stream than it is to monetize a Twitch stream because you're not getting any viewers or any discovery. But we've talked about that in a lot of different ways. And so the point being that like YouTube can actually pull people from somewhere to go watch live streams. So can Facebook, so can Mixer. So it might not be that Gothalion is interested in concurrent viewership as sort of the final issue. We tend to think of that as Twitch streamers. We tend to think of like, or as Twitch viewers, I should say, as a Twitch community, that having a high amount of average viewers is like the most important thing. But the more that I think about it, the less that I think this is like the most important metric to go off of. Because let me give you an example. There was at Nerd Fusion, we were doing a thing where I was going through and I was doing research on streams that had less than 50 people. And I was doing both an online component of this where we were going physically into streams and we were talking to people on different accounts and getting their views on things anecdotally. But I was also running data on the back end of trying to figure out like what's happening with these streamers. And there was something that I didn't expect that caught me there. There were a lot of streamers in the like 50 to 100 viewer range that were making like way, way above full-time income. They had like over 1,000 subs and they were doing really well. And I was like, how, like 50 to 100 viewers, right? Like over 1,000 subs. Like, how can this be? And then I looked at those streams and I started singling those streams out. And it was all because so like in Fortnite, for example, a lot of people were doing Fortnite customs, where if you subscribe to their stream, you could participate in their customs tournament for a prize, and then that would get you a subscription. And they were getting thousands of subs by doing this. But it was a relatively low amount of people that would actually watch the stream because they would only be there for the customs to be participating in it, but they would subscribe to the stream. They would pay that $5 to get that benefit. You also see this in sort of like CSGO streams and things like that is a little bit less ethical, but it's like that same type of thing. The point being that we tend to think a key performance indicator for a stream is average viewership, and yet it seems like the income and the results that the stream is producing as a result of that average viewership are way out of whack. So with Ninja everybody's making fun of Ninja because he went from 40,000 viewers to what? Is he on Mixer now? Is he like 5 to 10,000? Okay, but he still has, like, here's the thing. So it's like, people might be thinking, making fun of Ninja because he's lost, let's say, 70% or 80% of his greater average viewership, but consider he has an amazingly solid monthly income. He has this greater earned media, meaning more people are talking about him in Q3 than quarter 4. I explained that concept in the Shroud video, right? And he has the same or greater opportunities for collab. Plus, he gets the personal backing of Microsoft and first-time features for their platform and games, such as Minecraft or Halo. So when you start to think about the benefits that he's getting or the benefits that people are getting, why a streamer would go to another platform to sacrifice average viewership becomes a lot more interesting of a proposal. If you can, and this is a really cool thing because this is what I love about business, is like if you can't compete on viewership, then you have to sit back and you have to say, well, what can I compete on? And one of the things we discussed also in the Shroud video that's probably a factor for King Gothalion was ads, right? Like Gothalion is yet another CPM-friendly stream. Again, you're going to see everybody that is like actually brand-friendly is going to be at least considering this move to Mixer. The people that have the business sense, because they're going to see these benefits. So if you listen to Gothalion's video, one of the big reasons he says that he wants, notice that none of the actually, he specifically mentions in this video that he's going to lose video viewers, and he's okay with that. But notice what he says when he says the reason for why he's going to join.
Help us propel what we're doing, but also propel what's always been kind of important to the channel, which is doing good in gaming. Everything from, you know, helping broadcasters establish themselves, mentoring growing broadcasters, raising money for charity, and putting on events like Guardian Con and GCX. It just made sense to have a partnership like this one, where I get to have the potential of having, you know, platform level input, as well as the backing of one of the biggest names in gaming in Xbox. It's just...
See, everything that he's explaining here is actually a benefit of a real physical partnership with a platform and the ability to do business things through them. Like to call them up and be like, hey, Microsoft. I'll toss this guy a follow too. He's a cool dude. Hey, Microsoft, how would you guys like to run a event with me where we do like a convention? And then Microsoft's like, yeah, we're down. Like, we'll help fund it or we'll help do something with it, right? And you, like, Mixer and YouTube and Facebook are at the level where you can go to them and you can write in your contract that you want these kind of benefits. Twitch is not going to do that for you, right? And even if, and here's the thing, even if Twitch could do it, they can't do it because they don't have the backing of something like that. So the way that Twitch has to leverage is they have to leverage through Amazon as a content platform. But Amazon as a content platform is not comparable to like YouTube or Facebook or Mixer. They have Amazon Video, and that's why we're starting to see like watch parties, which is like a really kind of exciting thing. Like watch parties is a different way to use Amazon to engage with Twitch. And also, Amazon could become more serious about monetizations, where I would love to see Amazon develop a great affiliate program. Not just using the back of Amazon affiliate, but using Twitch to push products on Amazon for greater earnings would be really interesting. These are ways that Twitch can kind of provide unique value to users. I'm not saying that the unique value to streamers is not there for Twitch, but I'm saying it becomes way more compelling for a broadcaster to go to a platform if they're being offered something that is like a unique benefit. That, like, man, if someone is going to set me up in like a studio, and they're going to be like, hey, like, I want to help you. Like, let's say that Mixer came to me or YouTube came to me and was like, hey, we heard that you like really like doing these sort of like one-on-ones with people and you like bringing people on your show and talking to them for like 2 or 3 hours about like really in-depth concepts. Well, it turns out we have like a department at Microsoft that networks people together, and we could find one of those people a week that would come on the show for you. That's like, you want to get Devin Nash off of Twitch? Instantaneously, right? Because for me, it's more interesting to me to run something like that than it is for me to have better viewership numbers, right? Which I've never cared about. If I did, I'd just be the drama reacts guy. You know, there's so many things that I could do for greater viewership. But I think a lot of these kind of, I'll call them like wholesome streamers, are of this mindset where I know that Ninja wasn't thinking in terms of average viewership. Now, like a part of you is, and you're kind of like, oh man, like not as many people are watching you. But I think as you mature, you start to realize that like that number doesn't matter as much as like your engagement, as like the opportunities you have. Because the sort of, when I say earned media, I wrote that here. Earned media is a really important concept. How many people are talking about you? How many, what's like going on around you? Are there articles being written? Are there YouTube videos being written and things like that? A lot of that stuff, it could correlate to a higher viewer count. Like maybe more people will check you out. But a lot of times, people won't convert to your Twitch even if you have a big presence in other places, simply because the call to action isn't there to join the stream. We've gotten a lot of viewers from YouTube because I'm very consistent about how I do calls to action. It's like, hey, if you like these talks, I do these talks all the time on Twitch. You can come over here and you can see this. But a lot of people don't have that kind of translation, and it doesn't matter because the media that's being earned around them is greater. And like what's most important to me about Ninja is Ninja being talked about more than he was being talked about last quarter? Well, yeah, he's being talked about a hell of a lot more. Him moving to Mixer was a big deal, right? And so as long as that's true and you're being talked about in sort of the greater sphere of info more, then you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing for your brand because your brand goes beyond having an average concurrent viewership. So when people are like, why would I go to Mixer? Why would I go to YouTube? Why would I go to Facebook? Like these are some of the reasons why you would go. Now, okay, let's since I know this question is going to come up, there's going to be a question. It's like, okay, well, what if you're a small content creator? This is most people, right? That most people are not going to be like the 1%ers that are doing this. So I've given a lot of thoughts. If you're a 1%er viewer average person, I've given you probably a lot of thoughts that you can think about, which should be like, how could I leverage a partnership with these other companies to be able to do something that I want to do that I think is cool? So for Gothalion, that might be a convention. That might be a sort of professional relationship. For Ninja, it might be like being the first one to play a Minecraft patch or something like that, right? You have to kind of think about those things in that different way. For the vast majority of people that are trying to become content creators or create a brand, for them and where they start, the thinking shift that needs to happen is between evergreen content and or I'll just call it living content and temporary content. This is kind of a bad way to do this. Like I'm sure there's some cooler way I could explain this later. But let's say living content is stuff that exists regardless of if you are physically there or not. Whereas like temporary content is content created live that loses its relevance shortly after that. So temporary content are things like Twitch and Mixer and YouTube Live. Living content are things like YouTube, Medium, LinkedIn. Way more people that are starting to create content for the first time. Everything they do should be living content. If you're going onto Twitch and you're going to start streaming for 8 hours a day and you're doing content that even if it's really good, the chances of you getting discovered are next to zero. Versus if you're doing if you're doing temporary content. If you're doing living content that lives somewhere, so you're making YouTube videos like 2 videos a day, then the chance of you getting discovered, especially if you start to take a little bit of time to understand how to optimize those videos and get the thumbnails right and get the titles right, and you keep working on that, is much higher. So I think that's like how people should be thinking. They shouldn't be like, a lot of people, they ask the question, what platform should I start streaming on? That's like the wrong question to ask. The right question to ask is like, should I be streaming at all? That's the right question to ask. I think you should only be just streaming if you have another source of viewers to get you started and if you really, really enjoy it as a hobby or something. Because if you're trying to build yourself as a content creator, you just have to be objective about what your goals are. Yeah. So I'd say that I would say that my thoughts on this are, first of all, I guess I was like the way that I would close this, because this ended up being like a really interesting talk. Why would a streamer go to another platform? I offered some reasons, but I think here's what we're going to continue to see. More broadcasters that have a sort of like greater scope to what their vision is for broadcasting beyond just sitting and playing games are going to join platforms like Mixer, YouTube, and Facebook. Also, more broadcasters who are brand friendly are going to be really tempted to go to platforms like this because their CPM and is going to be so much higher. The more brand-centric streamers. Hi, I just started streaming on Mixer. I started streaming on Twitch, but barely got any viewers. My third day streaming on Mixer, I had 5 to 15 viewers, even though I streamed like 3 days. Mixer is much better, and I streamed WoW in the new Outer Worlds game. Yeah, I would say if you want short-term discovery, then streaming on any platform besides Twitch is good because they use algorithmic learning, and those smaller communities are more willing to. And look, like, here's the real answer, okay? And I'm going to do a separate video about this, but if you want the real answer is to syndicate. You do Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Facebook at the same time and see which one performs better. And then you do that until you're offered partnership with Twitch, and then you switch over if you want. That's actually the right answer. But we'll do a whole nother separate video about that. Anyway, so this is TLDR. Like, I think there are a lot of really good reasons to move to other platforms right now if you're a content creator. And even if you're just like beginning, thinking about content.